Discover the world and let me see how I can reach the inner me. How to connect. Here I am, come what may, the past, the future, and today. They're all inside of me. In my mind, I will find. Start believing in a better world, a brighter future. 'Cause from the heart of the soul, you can reach them all today. Just start believing in a better world, a brighter future. 'Cause from the heart of the soul, you can reach them all today. You are the world as I am too. Tomorrow together we'll break through if we stay true. So if we're as one through our rise and fall and stay connected, we will stand tall. So we can make it. In my heart, I will feel. Start believing in a better world, a brighter future. 'Cause from the heart of the soul, you can reach them all today. Just start believing in a better world, a brighter future. 'Cause from the heart of the soul, you can reach them all today. Just start believing in a better world, a brighter future. 'Cause from the heart of your soul, you can reach them all today. Just start believing in a better world, a brighter future. 'Cause from the heart of your soul, you can reach them all today. Discover the world and let me see how I can change the inner me. How to connect. Discover the world and let me see how I can reach the inner me. How to connect. Here I am, come what may, the past, the future, and today. They're all inside of me. In my mind, I will find. Start believing in a better world, a brighter future. 'Cause from the heart of the soul, you can reach them all today. Just start believing in a better world, a brighter future. 'Cause from the heart of the soul, you can reach them all today. You are the world as I am too. Tomorrow together we'll break through if we stay true. So if we're as one through our rise and fall and stay connected, we will stand tall. So we can make it. In my heart, I will feel. Start believing in a better world, a brighter future. 'Cause from the heart of your soul, you can reach them all today. Cause from the heart of your soul, you can reach them all today. Just start believing in a better world, a brighter future. 'Cause from the heart of your soul, you can reach them all today. Discover the world and let me see how I can change the inner me, how to connect.
We respect every language and we embrace every community, and that is India. That's the whole essence of the Chennai Children's Choir also.
They bring in so much of beauty with their differences, and this is the place I think we all celebrate our differences.
फुलकोवाकामा फुलै संसारा काडाको आकामा काडै संसारा झुल्किन्छ हे छाया
நான் ஒரு தலித் சமுதாயத்தை சேர்ந்த ஒரு புவர் ஃபேமிலி. என் குடும்பத்தில் வந்து யாருக்கும் மியூசிக்கை பற்றி ஒன்றும் தெரியாது. நாங்கள் அந்த மாதிரி இல்லை. இப்போது வந்து என்னோடய மக மியூசிக்கில் வந்து நல்லா பாடுறாங்க. அதனால் வந்து அவங்களுக்கு கிளாஸ் காமிச்சு
கீரை நாமரோஸ்
இருக்கிற காலத்தில் மீனுங்கள்லாம் அழிஞ்சு தான் போகுது. இன்றைக்கி வலையை நீங்களே பார்த்தீங்க, நேரடியாக பார்த்தீங்க, ஒரே ஒரு குண்டான் மிஞ்சி போனால் 2000 2000 ருபீஸ் விற்க.
வைஷ்ணவ ஜனதோ தேனே
பிள்ளைங்களை படிக்க வச்சு மேலே அதுங்களை மேலே போகிறதா நான் பார்க்கணுமே தவிர இதே தொழில் என்னோட போய் முடியட்டும்.
அவனுக்கு எது பிடிச்சிருக்கோ அதுக்கு அனுப்புவான். அதுவே வந்து அதான் அவனோட இது மியூசிக் இது ஃப்யூச்சராக இருந்தால் கூட அனுப்பிச்சுடுவோம்.
ஆக்சுவலாக எனக்கு கர்நாடிக் மியூசிக் தெரியும். நான் கற்றுன்ருக்கேன் சின்னதில். சுனிதா மாதிரி இருக்கும்போது நான் கர்நாடிக் மியூசிக் கற்றுன்ருக்கேன். ஆனால் என்னுடைய சுச்சுவேஷன் எனக்கு ஃபர்தராக இது பண்ணுறதுக்கு அலோவ் பண்ணலை. பட் எனக்கு இப்போ சுனிதா நான் கற்றுக்க முடியாததை சுனிதா கற்றுக்கிறது எனக்கு ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமாக இருக்குது.
மறுநாள் பொங்கல் திருநாள் வாசல் முன்னாலே
உனக்கு வந்து தப்பாக கிடையாது. எல்லா வேலையும் நானே பார்க்கும்போது
இங்கே வந்துட்டு உனக்கு சில்ட்ரன்ஸ் ஸ்கொயரில் வந்துட்டு நல்ல ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி கிடச்சிருக்கு. ஃப்யூச்சர் கையில் இருக்குது, உங்கள் கையில் இருக்குது. மிஸ் பண்ணிடாத.
ஒழுக்கம் விழுப்பம் தரலான் ஒழுக்கம் உயிரினும்.
Wherever we go in the bus, we travel in auto, no, they will say she is a special child. Even some people reject to sit beside her.
கண்ணம்மா கண்ணம்மா அழகு பூஞ்சிலே.
In children's choir, she expresses herself very well. They inspired her. They never treated her as a special child. And the children who are there too, they will treat her as a normal child only.
You are very clear about one thing. Nobody is different in this group, and music is a medium.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jezreel, and I'm from the Singapore International Foundation. Thank you for joining us at the Arts for Good Fellowship panel discussion. I'm grateful to be here today, and I will be using she, her pronouns for myself. We are really glad to share this beautiful day with you, and we hope all is well wherever you are tuning in from. Into the 6th edition, the 2023 fellowship began earlier this Wednesday, where we had 33 wonderful fellows from more than 10 countries around the world connecting and establishing friendships online. We're excited for our Arts for Good fellows to convene physically in Singapore in January next year to continue learning, sharing, and collaborating with each other. Today, we are also joined by our Arts for Good alumni and friends from all around who wish to build a better world with us through the power of the arts. Please use the chat box to introduce yourself and where you're dialing in from. We will be hearing from our panelists on their approaches in creating creative, socially connected environments and enriching the lives of seniors. But before that, we are honored to have Governor of Singapore International Foundation, Chief Executive, Office of the Chief Justice, Supreme Court of Singapore, Ms. Juthika Ramanathan, to share a few words. As she cannot be with us live today, she has pre-recorded her remarks. We will now share the video.
Distinguished guests, partners, and friends of the arts, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us at the Singapore International Foundation's Arts for Good Fellowship panel discussion. Today's topic is more pertinent than ever. The world's population is aging at an unprecedented rate. In 2019, the number of people aged 60 years and older was 1 billion. This number will double by 2050. Aging will impact healthcare and social support systems adversely, and therefore needs close attention. How can we play our part in this area using arts? The arts can play an important role in healthy aging. Our esteemed panelists, who have a diverse range of experience in the arts, will highlight the importance of creativity in the journey towards aging holistically and meaningfully. Through their work, they have enriched the lives of seniors, fostered social connections among the aged, and created environments in which creativity thrives. At the SIF, we believe there is tremendous untapped potential for the arts and culture to contribute to such critical social issues. Our Arts for Good, or A4G initiative, aims to build a community of practice that leverages the arts and culture for social impact. A key program is our annual A4G Fellowship, which is on its 6th run this year. The fellowship brings together international practitioners from the arts and social sectors to harness the power of the arts for good. Since 2017, more than 150 fellows from 26 countries have exchanged insights, collaborated, and gained mutual support in an area of work that is challenging yet rewarding. This ecosystem grows stronger annually, contributing to SIF's vision for making friends for a better world. Today, we are joined online by 34 new fellows from 11 countries, including Myanmar and Cambodia. This is also the first time that Argentina and Georgia are represented. We welcome all of them and are excited to host them in January in Singapore. I would like to thank our speakers, partners, friends, and everyone tuning in today for your steadfast support and contribution to the A4G ecosystem. It has been heartening and inspiring to see people from all around the world coming together to share and uplift lives. I urge all fellows to make the most of this platform to build relationships and amass greater synergy to effect positive change. I wish you all an insightful panel discussion ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor, for your well wishes. I will be handing the time over to our moderator, Ms. Renee Chua, to start off the exciting panel discussion. For those of you in the audience, please remember to type any questions you have for our panelists in the Q&A tab to keep the discussion going. Without further ado, over to you, Renee.
Hello, everyone. It is with great pleasure that I'm with you today, and I'm very happy to see that we have friends from all over the world. I'm Renee. I'm an independent theatre maker and also an arts educator. And I'm also an Arts for Good Fellow in 2018. I have dark brown hair, mid-length hair, and with light color dress. And I have a gray background. And occasionally when I move, you might see a little light bulb. Okay. And before we begin, I just want to give you a quick flow of what we're doing today. The 4 speakers will be giving their presentations for 10 minutes each, and then after that, we will proceed with the Q&A. So if you have any questions, feel free to type them in the Q&A box, and I will be giving your questions to the speakers. So without further ado, let's welcome our first speaker, Dr. Michael Tan from Sheffield Hallam University, and he'll be sharing more on his research. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee, for the introduction, and good afternoon, everybody. I'm Michael from Singapore. I'm currently based in Sheffield Hallam University at Lab for Living, a creative interdisciplinary lab. I'm a Chinese guy in my mid-40s. I wear glasses. I have brown eyes, black hair with a fringe covering my forehead. I'm wearing a mustard-colored sweater at the moment. I'd like to first begin by thanking the Singapore International Foundation for this opportunity and invitation to join a group of esteemed colleagues in this panel. And I've been tasked to address or to share my thinking and journey around creative engagement, care, and aging. And I'll try my best to unpack my journey in the next 10 minutes. So I think what I'm interested to do today is to provide more ideas around, the conceptual thinking that underpins my work that allow me to bridge different sectors and different disciplines in my work as an educator, as well as a practitioner and a researcher. Hence the title of the talk, Reflection, Imagination, and Adventures from the Spaces in Between, as I hold on to the space of creativity and care. I'd like to first start with this map, which I hope will give you a very quick introduction of what my agendas or what my aims are. I mean, my base primarily comes from art and design. And then in my journey of education, I've crosses into sociology as well as humanities in human geography, who then make up to where I am. I think with this interdisciplinary journey between the arts, social science, and humanity, it has also led me into, looking at works around the field of arts and health humanities, medical humanities, applied gerontology. And I think my work currently spans across healthcare, social care, community development, public health, with an overarching interest in art and design. A lot of the work that I'm doing right now attends to compassionate community, aging, health justice, mental health literacy, death and grief literacy, as well as the notion of creative health. And I think over the years, in my own understanding of my practice, I also come to a realization as I cross the field and connect fields in terms of just trying to articulate what my interest is. And I think where I am today, I understand, the motivation behind my work is to really trying to put art or creative practice in relation with other sectors or other disciplines to really question how do we go about promoting human flourishing by interrogating, exploring, and imagining the way we care. A lot of my work is informed by these questions. So in my work, I ask what is care. I also ask who can care and what form can care take, where and how it could actually be encountered and experienced. And I think most importantly, it is to really bring arts and culture stakeholders into the ecology of care to really then allow us to explore how might the arts and cultural stakeholders such as artists, museums, and other kind of spaces that will support arts and cultural activities for us to actually explore the notions of care. So in my work, I've sort of like crossed different disciplines and worked with different sectors. I think when I first began this work, it is really about future proofing. I mean, you know, in context about as we talk about aging, I think it's also important for us to realize ourselves that aging, while it is a stage in life which is often regarded as a later part of life, this lifespan, I think it's also important that, you know, while we are young, we are also part of that agents of change. And whatever that we do now, we actually have the capacity to influence how the aging future is. And I think partly for me, that's what motivates me in my work as I go into all this cross-disciplinary, cross-sector collaboration, because I believe and I'm trying to put in my effort to change or to shape the society or spaces and environments and processes in our community, so that by the time when I'm really old and gray, I could sort of like sit in a very nice, flourishing space. So in terms of cross-sectorial work, I've worked with the National Arts Council in Singapore, as well as the Agency for Integrated Care, which has given me a lot of platform to really investigate, you know, the intersection between arts and health and aging. And I think building on that, because I'm also partly an educator, I've also been very interested in looking at how do we sort of like challenge current thinking, which is why it's an invitation to also, you know, invite creative practitioners to think about who can actually care. Because I think a lot of time when we talk about caring figures in society, I mean, there's always a tendency to sort of like relate that to very typical figures of care, such as doctors, social workers, nurses. And I think in part of the work, in my practice, in my research, as well as teaching, I think I'm also very interested to create that spaces to really interrogate how we could come together to better care. And then when I talk about caring in this context, I also don't mean just that physical exchange, but I think care could also be unpacked in various forms through getting people who are sort of like training to be carers, such as nurses or social workers, to use creative processes to actually get them to think about what it means and how they can prepare themselves better to actually care with aesthetic sensitivity. So some of the interdisciplinary courses that I've done in universities would include the Arts and Aging and Wellbeing module that I'm running as part of the Applied Gerontology at Nanyang Technological University. I've also worked with dermatologists in terms of looking at visual thinking and museum collection, how that could actually improve medical students' critical thinking and observation skills. So I'm going to move on. So I think in terms of my work, this is also a starting point. I think, you know, I feel this is something that's quite interesting about a creative practitioner, is that the life of my lived experience doesn't sort of like fall off too far in my everyday job. So I think my experience as a caregiver, as part of my artistic expression, when I became a caregiver, was to actually do this work called Dancing with Dad, where it is really a series of photo installations and texts that tries to capture the struggle of a caregiver, or the realization of myself as a caregiver. And I think that is also a turning point whereby the notions of care, or the concepts of care, becomes really, really prominent in my work, that then led me to really start to think about how I could sort of like contribute to this ecology of care, perhaps from a more humanistic kind of perspective, because I think a lot of time when we talk about care, it is often medicalized or it's structured within, you know, a certain kind of sector. And I think part of that work is to also interrogate what happens to life when we goes beyond the door of the doctor. So I think part of what I'm interested to do today is to perhaps just put out some ideas to share with you some of my orientation, and hopefully this will also open up ways for you to consider, you know, in the work that you do, how you might relate to some of this concept. I'm interested in unthinking care or unpacking what care is. I think a lot of time it is really a word that has been largely taken for granted. So I've been looking and reading a bit around literature, around ethics and philosophy of care. And I thought I just want to kind of like share with people today and in the audience in terms of, you know, just unpicking care a little bit. I think when we talk about care, it is important for us to understand that the meaning and the situated relevance of care cannot be taken for granted, which is why I think it motivates me to question who can care, where can care happen, and how do we encounter care. I think what is more important here is to also understand that care itself is actually distributed across multiplicity of agencies and material, and supports our world as a thick mesh of relational obligation. So I think what I'm trying to draw out here is also when we talk about the ecology of care, moving away from the very well-known established notions of figures of care in our society. I think what I'm trying to argue in part of my work is to also establish the fact that artists and cultural institutions do play a role in caring, which then brings me into the next part of this understanding in terms of, you know, acknowledging the use of non-human material as part of that creation, that caring relation. So the way we think about care perhaps is actually very complex. It is entangled. And I think it is important for us to think about how processes, material, human interaction as a assemblage can actually come together to support care. So I think as we become more actively in the way we think about care and interrogate care, or what De La Bella Casca talks about in terms of caring thinking, we are also exercising within ourselves the sense of knowledge politics in terms of how we view care. And I think, you know, proposing the aspect of a caring aesthetics and ethical, political, and effective aspect of what caregiving actually does. And I think it is important for us to also understand that, you know, when we talk about care, it's actually a very situated, interdependent circumstance across life course. And I don't think, you know, it's just about us talking about end of aging. But I think as we talk about aging, we need to kind of like look at it in an interdependent manner. So it's not just situated at the end of life. So I think there are 4 ethical elements which I would just want to kind of like draw out here in terms of, you know, as we talk about caring, it is important for us to think about attentiveness, responsibility, competence, and responsiveness. And I think these are values that are important for us to keep in mind as we think about care. So as part of the work that I do, I think it's important, it's useful, this is where I situate myself in terms of the fields of how I make that connection. I work within the areas of arts and health. So if you are not familiar, this is a field that combines, you know, multidiscipline that comes together to understand how we could actually, you know, support human flourishing. So if you want to kind of like read further, there's a paper on arts and health in Singapore, which, you know, I can leave you the slides to read further. I'm told that I only have 30 seconds left. Time just sped by. I think if there's anything that I want to kind of like finish off is to really sort of like ask us to maybe think about, you know, when we talk about the paradigm of aging, is it just about healthy aging, or is it really about getting us to consider what it means to have a flourishing life? And I think to end this off, I think it's important for us to think about, you know, aging as an intergeneration issues and concern, and not situated in late life. It is a social and cultural issues, and that is something that is just not physical. And I think it's also important as we talk about, future of aging, to be reflexive and to really think about cultural change within our sectors. And it would then be us asking, what is that future ecology of care would look like, and what are the current limitations and barriers that we are looking into at this point. So with that, sorry that I have to rush through, like 10 minutes just sort of like flew by. With that, I would like to pass it back to Renee.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tan, on your insights on care with aesthetic sensibility. Our next speaker is Ms. Ling, Co-Artistic Director and Interim Executive Director of Drama Box, and she'll be sharing more on her project with seniors. Ms. Ko, please. Ling, you're on mute.
Hi. I hope all of you can see the slides that I'm putting on. Give me a second. Share screen. There you go. Okay. Yes. All right. So I am Hui Ling. So my practice is based in theatre. So I'm a theatre director, and I started off as a theatre actor. So I think over time, my practice has evolved into really focus on working in community spaces. And I think over the past 10 plus 15 years, I realized that when working with community spaces, that actually many a times it's either the seniors who are the ones who have a lot of supposed free time on their hands, or actually the young people, the children who their parents want to give them the time and space to come and participate in something. So across the span of my practice, I think I've spent a lot of time with many seniors in the community spaces. So today I think I'm sharing the ethos of our work, and then from there, illustrated through a particular project so that you can get a sense of actually the kind of work that we do and what are the focuses that we have when we work in community spaces. So these are some of the keywords that we use when we are at Drama Box, when we look at working with communities or different kinds of marginalized friends. So I think one of them being, like I mentioned, seniors. And I think one keyword that has come out also is this idea of a relationship. So we have started looking into the whole idea and concept of relational aesthetics. And if we look at that, this is a simple map of how we have done our mapping when we go into community spaces, a network that is invisible, but probably happening on the ground where different people are supporting, connected with each other. So you have the community facilitator, organizer, or the leader on the top left. Policymakers, so in Singapore, we call it the member of the parliament, who's in charge, or the legal person who's in charge of a political guardhouse of the area. And then you have the institutions who run the spaces, like the HDB, the Housing Development Board, or the town councils. So if there's something wrong with your flat, etc., these are the people to go to. And then to the right, you have the civil society, friends who are on the ground from NGOs or ground-up initiatives who want to do something for that particular community. And sometimes there are designers and writers as well. And of course, the community, the residents, and I mentioned earlier that many of them that we have come across are actually the senior demographic. So how we see the work that we do is that we embed ourselves in the center as in of this image. But we would like to see how we are actually connected to the different parties as well, besides us just, going to say like a particular family service organization or senior activity center and doing work with them. We do see the work that we do interconnected with the other community members and stakeholders as well. Yeah, so this is how we place ourselves, and we, besides working on the artwork itself, we actually spend a lot of time connecting with the different stakeholders and parties to make different aspects of the work as well as concerns from the seniors actually more visible, or something that can be addressed. So this is something a social worker has shared with me quite a while back when I was running a workshop for social workers, and then how they can use the arts in the social work space. And this is perhaps to friends in the social service sphere, this would probably be something that you're familiar with. But I found that this is particularly useful when allowing me to see where each project that I'm doing is placed, and the kind of engagement and participation and the relationship actually I have with the different partners or the stakeholders, or actually the seniors who are then the intended community are working with. So from the pink area where we just tell them what to do, to the green area where actually there's a lot more ownership and partnership, as well as us as artists going in, providing a frame, and then or asking actually questions and letting them tell us, then respond to that frame, deciding where, what, and how that content should be done. So I'll talk a little bit more about this and how I see it in some of the works that we are doing. So I think the work in the ladder image that I showed in the last slide really spans from community engagement, participation, to the other end of the spectrum, where really it is about co-creating with the community. So this particular project that I'm going to use and talk more about today is actually a group of seniors who have been in I have been having the honor to work with them since 2014. So in 2014 to 2016, this particular housing area was intended to be taken down because of a reconstruction and then rebuilding to be done. So what we did was we went in and we worked with the seniors, designing different workshops around this particular housing estate and engaging the seniors in different conversations. So you see on the left, we have a mapping exercise where we did 3D structures, and then we got the seniors to actually contribute the stories and the memories they have of living in that space that they were living in. And you will also see that in the picture, a lot of the young people. So we actually also trained young people to facilitate these kinds of conversations and dialogues with the seniors as well. So to the right, you will see one of our trained facilitators who helping the senior take a picture. So we introduced the language of photography as well, to use pictures and images to capture images, and we set a theme. So the theme at that time was, things that, because they knew that they were going to move out of this space, and then what were the things that they want to capture, and actually things that they realized that they cannot bring along with them. So we went around on an entire workshop process where they were capturing images and then embedded with the stories of why they think these are the things that were very special to them and they were not able to bring along to the next space. So usually we create these workshops, and as you can see from the bottom on the left side, with chairs, so dialogue conversation spaces where we collate all these stories and as well as thinking and thoughts from the seniors themselves, and then we started to curate the program around it. So to the right, the largest picture you see on the floor is actually the marked out area of the new space that they're going to move into. So we tried to do a futuring exercise with them as well, besides just focusing on nostalgia and what happened in the past, but to look into the future and working with them and a spatial designer to see how actually they can better frame and redesign their living spaces before they actually really see the place that they're going to move into, and then they can start visioning, okay, am I going to place a bed here, how much space do I have to navigate, and things like that. So this project is called In the Land of Its Lost. It lasted from 2014 to 16, and if you're interested, you can scan the QR code on the left. So we have a video documentation of the entire project and what was the outcome, which then brought me to the next part of the work. So with some hiatus in between, because of course funding lapsed, or rather ended, for that particular aspect of the work. Singapore Art Museum then with board actually invited us to go back to Dakota Crescent to do this project with the Kasia community. And actually this Kasia community are the residents, made up of the residents from the Dakota community. So it's their new block and area. So very great that we were able to go and start work with them. So actually starting from last year, we went in and designed block parties, mainly for the communal building, re-knowing each other again. So we had parties of what we call the Hello Party, to just reintroduce ourselves with the community and reconnecting with the community again and the seniors. And then also with Chinese New Year party, National Day party, so that so that the habit of coming in together as a community is brought in again. And during this entire time, we were also talking to the ground stakeholders. Remember just now in the image network that I was drawing, because we need to secure things like a venue. Where are we going to place ourselves using these venues? Because we are not using, say, a family service organization's office, right? We are using actually the spaces around the block, public spaces. So we have to work with the partners to get permission on venues, what we can do at those venues, as well as actually building that relationship with these partners so that we can also address some of the concerns that these partners may have when working with the excuse me, with the residents or the seniors. So we also bring in performances, and this performance that we brought in was actually a performance about living and dying, of part of another project that we were doing. And this was based on the one of the ground stakeholders partners feedback that they thought that the seniors really wanted to have a time and space to talk about living and dying. So we brought in these performance and then actually have facilitated conversations after that with the seniors, and actually they brought down their family members, so there were children there as well, to start this conversation about living and dying and legacy. So while we were doing all this, where the seniors were all part of a conversation, where we show them what it is. Actually, we also spent a lot of time doing mapping. So we had two main mapping activities that lasted about 2 to 3 months each. Where this is the first one, where we try to map out where they have been, what they are doing, and basically their activity around the area and the space. It's called This is a Place Where, as you can see in the picture, the questions that we will ask them and they respond to it. In the second mapping exercise, it's really actually changing that conversation and the narrative already, because these groups of seniors, they are very used to receiving a lot of social aid and support from different stakeholders on the ground. So I was thinking if we could then actually turn that narrative around a little bit, because they are still very healthy and could contribute to their own community as well. So we started to ask them different questions about actually what do they think they can do within that community. So these were some of the responses where we asked them to start talking about what they can do for their neighbor, what is their ideal neighbor, ideal neighborhood, and then how would they design the spaces around their living area. You can see the little, the cute auntie, hiding behind the block on the left side, because she's very shy. And all these information that we have collated and gathered and through our conversations with them culminated into this actually last phase of the work that we're doing, which is what we call Boleh Bank. As you can see, it's like happening like right now. We just started our mapping this Tuesday. Actually, tonight we are actually having an activity as well. So basically, we built an asset bank. So this asset bank looks at collating the assets that these seniors have, and then we put it into like a deposit in a bank. We put it into a bank, and you can see on the left side our bank teller wearing a sash, to give them identity, where we process this information and data. And at some point in time in the next month, after we have collected all these deposits, we then ask them this question of, actually what do they think they can contribute and want to share with their neighbors, and something that is meaningful to their neighbors. So it's not just about what skill set that I have, like I can cook a curry fish head very well, but actually, how does this cooking this curry fish head contribute to a larger community and community relationship and bonding within that block itself? So that will be the next part of the work, which will entirely go into 2024 March, and then that's when we end this particular phase of the work. So we are hoping that we can also continue this, because we are hoping to also engage the seniors now with their free time as bank tellers, so that they can be the ones who are actually facilitating these conversations on the ground as well. So with that, you can also scan the QR code, which is a block noting down all our different experiences and reflections on the ground. So you can take a look at that website as well. And with that, I leave you my contact in the last slide. And thanks, Renee. Over back to you.
Thank you so much, Hui Ling, for sharing the framework that you work with, as well as the details of your Dakota Crescent project. I'm sure we have lots to take back from your sharing. So keep your questions coming in. I see that there are already a few questions in the Q&A box, and we will try to address them during the Q&A session. Our third speaker is Mr. Edwin Wee, director and co-founder of Decadence Co. He will be sharing more on his dance project with seniors. Over to you, Edwin. Edwin, you're on mute.
Hi, let me start again. Okay, I hope everybody can hear me now. I'm Edwin Wee, and I am a Chinese guy at almost 40. I have long hair in a bun, and I have very small eyes. Okay, got that out of the way. I am the co-founder and the director of Decadence Co., a Singaporean-based contemporary dance company founded in 2019. And we are a very, very young company, and we wanted a platform. We wanted to create a platform for us to kind of hopefully change the dynamic and the political landscape of our current dance scene. That was our initial, jumpstart goal, because we feel like we just want to make things a lot more warmer. Contemporary dance is often something that is not very accessible, something that is very people seem as too arty-farty, very hard to understand, very cheem, very we just want to try and kind of change the perspective of that. So our focus is in the physicality of the body through contemporary dance. Collaborations with many different either disciplines, different artists, different industries. We always love to work with another person. We almost never, still haven't, like kind of independently, churned out something by ourselves, because we feel like collaborations make the conversations a lot more interesting, and the process and the journey a lot more interesting, and therefore we do that. Making it matter, the third one. We always feel like we pour our heart and soul. We spend all that hours training as dancers in the studio, in front of a mirror. At some point, we ask ourselves, who is this for? And I think we start to think a little bit more on how we can take what we do best and kind of reach out and find interesting ways of touching people's lives and reaching into different communities. How it all started, this is something very personal actually for me. I was very, very, very close to my grandma. I feel like I was closer to her than my mom. Not my mom to my grandmother, me to my mom. She suddenly passed when I was 21. And before she passed, she told me that, I asked her if I could, I could dance as a living. I could go study dance, and it was something that I do very often when I was younger, but it was not something that I was trained in. I didn't go for any classes, none of that sort. I was just, turning on MTV and, just kind of like blasting music in the house all the time. And she gave me her blessing, and then she passed like 2 weeks later. So then, during her funeral, I felt like when I was speaking to everyone, her children, my aunt, I feel like there's this sense of her being misunderstood most of the time, and if we all took our time to kind of sit and listen to what she was trying to say, things would have been very different. The relationships would have been very different. So that point in my life was quite a huge turning point, I would say. In 2020, 2009, I had my first opportunity to work with seniors of a rehab center, and when I went in and I started to facilitate the program, I felt like all of these are my grandmother. Like I could see my grandmother in every one of them. And from then on, I never let go. I never looked back. I just started to pour my heart and my just all my energy out in every single session since 2009. And you know, it was back in 2019 when we founded the company, and also when we first started doing our program with seniors. It was just me and my co-founder Rachel, just trotting along, around the whole island with all our barang-barang. Barang-barang means props, and we were, facilitating our program to maybe 3 centers, and now we have 4 full-time and 3 freelance facilitators. We reach out to more than 20 senior centers, if not more. I'm just, I'm arbitrarily giving a number. We have done 3 intergenerational contemporary dance shows, where we have 3 generations of performers on stage. Not just on stage, but through the whole process, all actively creating the show with us, amongst other full-length works. So yes, really, really proud of what we have accomplished so far. And today, one of the main things is how I think intergenerational. I think a lot of times when I talk about aging, I will always want to talk about intergenerational, because it's all about us coming together and putting our differences aside, sometimes our upbringing aside, and be a lot more empathetic to a different generation who comes from a different time. Just want to quickly share 3 programs that the company is currently having. We have DECA Kids, and this is where we are reaching out to the very young, like 3 to 12-year-olds. But this is where we want to try and look at a bit more of an alternate dance education, where we focus on natural movement and creative thinking. We also have DECA Studios, where we reach out to dance enthusiasts of the working age, and or people who might be interested to move in dance, but don't know where to start. So this is where we have classes, open studios. And then the last one is DECA Silver, which will be our focus today, where we design projects and programs to reach out to a wide variety of seniors. Okay, sorry, it's 10 minutes, so I'm trying to. DECA Silver started out as a program that we go out we reach out with to different senior care centers weekly. And that in just want to share with you what happens in a session. We use dance as the main language of communication. Everything that we do, we dance in it. Even though it's a warm up, it's a cool down, it's a game. Everything is designed with dance as an anchor. And I think that something that we try very, very hard to kind of dilute the stigma around what dance is for the previous generation, because with my experience, a lot of them don't want to dance, don't like to dance, not open to dancing, or they feel like only a certain group of people are privileged enough to dance because they have good facilities and good coordination, and it takes a lot to be able to want to dance. And it's also a showcase of your body, which could be very, very unfamiliar for some people. But what we want to kind of change the message is that as long as we are enjoying ourselves and we are moving our body and we are having fun, that is dancing, and it's okay. There's no judgment. It's not every time that you dance you put yourself up to being judged. Rhythm is very important. Everything is driven by a rhythm, and that changes the way that we talk to people. That changes the way they do their exercises. Everything also aims to be very highly tactile.
Okay, I found this on the web.
Oh my goodness, Siri suddenly. Tactile. We design props for them to manipulate, for them to tug, to pull, to wrap. We are very touchy with them also. I know COVID a bit scary, but we still try, because I think human to human, it's very different. And energy. We go in like a bunch of wild otters. We really try and like liven up the space. We are loud. We are slightly obnoxious, and we just want to kind of bring everybody up with us, and hopefully that kind of melts away any kind of like I don't want to do this, and any kind of like whininess that the seniors might have. We focus on bonds, so we are also very, very particular about us knowing every senior, that we we will have lunch with them, we'll bring them out, we'll meet them at Clementi Mall for a coffee or whatnot. We'll stay back, talk to them, maybe family, because I think at the end of the day, we're not here to just make them move or teach them how to dance. We're there to also be someone that they could feel comfortable to talk to. And it's not just us, because we built a community in the center. We built that big circle around Deca Silva, and they make new friends, they meet new people, and I think it's the whole the whole vibe. And humor. We try to be funny. We try to be. I hope we are. But it's something that we try to use as a tool to kind of raise their spirits. And raise their moods. And love, who can forget love? If there is no love, I think it's going to be a job. And to us, up until now, it's still not a job. I have 1 minute left. Deca Silva now becomes almost like a range of programs and experiences that we want to design for the seniors. We have weekly engagement sessions. We have performances by seniors where we go in and we choreograph something for the seniors, for a few selected seniors, and then they showcase maybe in an event or to their friends. We also do performances for seniors where we choreograph shows, small little shows for the seniors. We do dance films with the seniors in the dance film. We have an annual intergenerational dance performances. And we have curated excursions where we bring the seniors out to different art spaces or public spaces, attend a contemporary dance show, have a meal, do a cultural tour, things like that. My time is up, but can I very quickly share this video? Can I share a video?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Wait.
I think the worst thing that can happen is for the family to be ashamed of any condition that you have, and especially dementia, which is very misunderstood.
I'm Edwin.
I'm Rachel.
And we are from Deca Dance Co. The idea of dance is that people enjoy that moment of being you and what you can do now. Whatever you've accomplished today in that rehearsal, in that dance class, is yours. That is the most powerful thing. That you are able to just stand there and you're able to claim yourself.
对我来讲，这个活动能够让我变成有很自信。当我有了自信，我认为失智症也不是很可怕。
Hold your elbows, pull back. Very nice. Ba la 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 la. Da dum, ba dum, da da dum. Teresa, okay? Dum, da da dum.
One of the impacts of dance and movement is the restoration of identities. When dance class starts, they are no longer like patients, but they are back to their bodies, they are back to themselves.
Feeling very happy and quite exhilarated. We'll try our best to put up as much good performance as we can.
The young ones, darling, we're the young ones, and young ones shouldn't be afraid to live, love, while the flame is strong, for we may not be the young ones very long.
Dance, it embodies a lot of things. It embodies the mind, spirit, and as well as the body.
So love me, there's a song to be sung, and the best time is to sing it while we're young.
Through dance, you have to feel your body and release whatever tension we have. And through releasing what is entangling inside, can I now be free?
Okay, sorry, I have to cut the video short a little bit. We're running out of time. Thank you so much for having me again. Feel free to reach out, and over to you, Renee.
Thank you, Edwin, for the very moving video and your authentic and personal sharing on what inspired you to work with seniors and your insights on how to move with seniors. And it seems like I'm not the only one stumbling over my visual description. I definitely need more work on that. Okay, our last speaker for today is Professor Bai Xue from Hong Kong University Department of Applied Social Science and Research Center for Gerontology and Family Studies. And she will be sharing more on her research. Prof. Bai, please. Thank you. Prof. Bai, you're also on mute.
Okay, so thank you, Renee. And can you all see my slides?
Yes, it's good.
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. It's my great pleasure to be here and to share with you on the topic of innovation in research, education, and evidence-based practice for healthy and active aging. And I'm from the Hong Kong Polytechnic University, not Hong Kong U, and Department of Applied Social Sciences. And I'm also representing our Research Center for Gerontology and Family Studies. And as we all know, due to the decreasing the fertility rate and also the increasing life expectancy, actually 65 plus population accounts for, actually Hong Kong accounts for over around 20% of the total population. And I think our world is like aging, not only Hong Kong, but also in Singapore and also elsewhere in the world. And this kind of population trend is actually associated with increasing demand for healthy and active aging. And WHO in the year of 2002 proposed this active aging framework, which highlights three key pillars: health, participation, and security. And in response to the increasing demand for active aging, actually our Research Center for Gerontology and Family Studies have been committed in fulfilling this niche market demand through our weapons, not necessarily arts, but our research, education, and evidence-based practice plus innovation. So actually, not only we have established multidisciplinary academia networks, we've also have very strong community base, because we have a unique member pool of over 5,050 plus active Asia members, and we have a lot of experiences in conducting creative and community-based research, education, and practice for promoting the development of age-friendly city, and also in fostering active aging and well-being in later life. So actually, in noting that in Hong Kong, we kind of lack of a longitudinal database, active aging and family or society. So we've launched PASS, Panel Study of Active Aging in Society, since last year. And last year, we've finished the first wave of data collection from over 5,050 plus Hong Kong residents. And based on the data, run some analysis. We hope that this, and every 2 years we're going to collect a wave of data, and hopefully this PASS database could help more scholars to do related research and to use research to inform practice and service development. And for instance, like here, we've based on the data, we've done some regression analysis, and we find that not only personal characteristics but also family characteristics and social environment and services are all influential factors that influence older people's later life happiness and well-being. And so today I would like to highlight three directions and three key determinants of health and well-being of older people. The first one is social participation, particularly digital participation. Second, family functioning. And third, age-friendly environment and services. So I'm going to give you some examples of our programs and services, how this kind of research could inform our development of related programs and services, and how we conducted evaluation and how the evaluation results are. So the first direction, digital empowerment and inclusion. And I think after the COVID, you accept it or not, people are more and more dependent on the digital world, and digital literacy becomes increasingly important. And thanks for the support of SIE Foundation of the Hong Kong State government, we've would be able to develop this program. So I will be very brief because we only have 10 minutes. So for this program, we actually use theory to guide our program design. The theory includes theory of learning, positive education model PERMA system, and the role model learning system. So we use this kind of theory to develop our program into a format that we think and we trust it will be very efficient and effective in enhancing older people's digital literacy. Like we have the intergenerational component, we have young tutors, at the same time we have peer tutors, and we use train and trainer approach. Those who have been trained will become next for instance, teaching assistants or volunteers for the next batch of new students. And also we engaged multi-stakeholders. We're not only like our university, we also engage with NGOs, with the commercial partners, so as to make the impact and also allow us to reach more older people. And it's kind of gamified, so we hope to give older people a more joyful learning environment, because for older people, many of them, when they talk about digital literacy, when they talk about mobile technology, many of them feel a little bit anxious and worried about a lot of things. So we hope to infuse a lot of fun and joy in the process of learning. And we will design the training materials to accommodate the different levels of prior knowledge of digital literacy, and also the level of learning. And this bilingual, some older people prefer English, and some of them prefer Chinese, so we provide bilingual training. And we're very happy to see that the older adults, after receive the training from this program, they've got increased. We use pre and post evaluation. We've noted that they've got enhanced digital skills, digital self-efficacy, and have higher level of perceived ease of use after they've received our training. And moreover, they even reported improved well-being after participating in this program, because they also have a lot of opportunity to interact with other peers and young students, and we even provide a lot of after training support for them, because it's critical important for older adults, because after they learn from the class, when they go back home, they forget, and then they need someone to support them after the learning. So we have volunteers to support. Okay, the second direction is about the family capacity building. Okay, family is important for older people, and how to, maintain a healthy family relationship. It could be intergenerational, spousal relationships. It's critical. It's quite critical for older people. So again, we use the theoretical model, stages of change, and we, with reference to passive learning and participatory active learning approach, we try to develop the program into a way that will allow older people to learn a lot of knowledge and skills and how to maintain healthy family relationships at the very beginning. And then they will submit proposal to organize some family activities, multi-generational. And then we would provide them opportunities and to give them a lot of training, and then we go to the community to help those who are more in need. This again is a trainer approach. They will practice and they will use a more participatory active learning approach. So these are the 3 stages I mentioned earlier. The first stage, they have attended over 10 workshops regarding later life planning, family relationships, health and wellness, and then they themselves organize a lot of family activities. And as a family, some families can be over 10, over 20 members and do an activity together, and they will submit a proposal, and we will give them support. And thanks for the Ling Family Foundation support for this program. And then they would go to the community centers or even the residential care homes. They give and they serve those who are more in need, and they practice what they've learned from the courses we've given them to helping those who are more in need. I think this model is quite good, because nowadays in the care and residential care homes, there's always a shortage of manpower. So the older people, the active ages, they are quite willing to continue to contribute. And so this is a quite good model that we want to continue, and we hopefully there will be chance to further expand the program. And again, very happily, we see that they've got overall enhancement in the later life planning after the workshops. They have better family relationships, and they enjoying health and well-being after they participate in this program. So because we are university, we're not just a service provider. So that's why we hope our program could be theory guided, at the same time could be scientifically evaluated, and there could be some model and developed to further disseminate, to share with different service stakeholders, to academia, and also to the service providers, so that more people could use the theory guided and scientifically proven effective model to help to foster active aging and intergenerational solidarity and more age-friendly society. Okay, so last direction, as we mentioned, individual level, personal level, we've talked about the participation and digital participation. At the family level, we've talked about how to do the multi-generational family capacity building, and actually the environment, the whole society, the atmosphere is also very important. So because we are university, so we're thinking how we can do more to help to nurture age-friendly university students. When we talk about aging-related knowledge, aging-related subjects, only those the disciplines like social work, health-related disciplines, we have chance to to touch this kind of content. But for other disciplines, students from other disciplines, they have less chance to have this kind of exposure. So that's why with the support from Zeshan Foundation, Ling Foundation, and also Jockey Club Center for Positive Age, also Jockey Club and Quality Education Fund, we've in the past few years we've conducted a lot of we've spent a lot of efforts developing an infusion active aging education model and to practice in different disciplines. So, yeah, as I mentioned earlier, and in the year of 2019, a few universities, they've conducted a survey for older people, asked them to rate each of the area of age friendliness, and it seems that the polite and helpful service staff, recognition of older people's contribution by the society, older people were depicted positively by media without stereotypes. They have higher scores in this kind of domains, but it seems that many older people, they kind of feel that aging topics taught in schools and opportunity for older people to participate in school activities kind of, have got a lower score. And also they're not very satisfied with services and products. They don't think they could really meet their varying needs. So this kind of underscores the importance of training the future generations and the future leaders in different disciplines, different professionals. They need to have more, sensitivity and more knowledge about aging, and so that they could better serve and work for and work with the aging population. So, and with this concept in mind, we developed the infusion active aging education model. So, it consists of 4 components. First, we need to identify academic champions, which are actually subject teachers from different disciplines. We buy in their support, and we let them know the importance of, letting their students to have a better understanding of the aging society, and how to, and then we need to, once they agree, we will sit down, gerontology experts and also subjects teachers will sit down together and to brainstorm how we can organically and naturally infuse aging-related education content into the curriculum, and to develop some intergenerational learning activities. And then we brought older people into the classroom to interact with the students, to engage in intergenerational learning. And then after the activity got implemented, we will evaluate, again, we will evaluate the effectiveness of this kind of activities. So, so all the activities were developed based on the intergroup contact theory, which emphasizes 5 components, including equal status. They have common goals to achieve. They have cooperative interaction. There is institutional support. Otherwise, older people cannot, be allowed to enter this university. And also, there should be we should allow them opportunities for building friendships. So this is the IAAE model, and in the past few years, actually, we've successfully collaborated with 8 faculty and schools, and in around, I think, 9 or 10 subjects. They're from like School of Design, biomedical engineering, not social work, not health, but marketing, building real estate, School of Optometry, hotel tourism management, food security and nutrition, applied social sciences. We've collaborated with different faculties and schools in different subjects, and we applied this infusion education model. And here are some of the photos for the activities. Like in the first photo, you can see that young people, the students and older people, they actually play mahjong together, and they have a lot of opportunities to interact and to communicate. And also in the last picture, we see the young students and the older people, they're actually dancing together because they're talking about their pop culture in their generations. And so that, and the very important thing is that we have to naturally, organically infuse the content into the curriculum. It's not an add-on component, but it still can help to fulfill the course objectives without changing the course objectives. And this is also very important so that, we can make this model sustainable. So we're very happy to see for the intervention group, the students who have participated in this kind of infusion active aging program, they've got enhanced knowledge of aging, and they have got more positive attitudes toward older people. They've got enhanced gerontological skills, and they've even got increased professional interest in future to work with and work for older people. But for the control group, only the knowledge of aging got a little bit increased because this group are from a social work discipline. So chances that in their courses, they've also got content related to aging related issues. But For attitude, skills, and professional interest, no increment. So, and also for the attitude toward age-friendliness, again, for the intervention group, we've got significant improvement, but for the control group, no. So this all can speak to, you know, the effectiveness of our program. And so how to actually, in the presentation earlier, I tried to give you some example of how we try to integrate research into like program development, because this is very important. We cannot just, you know, based on our experience and to get whatever we want, but we based on scientific evidence and we evaluate using scientific methods. And actually, after we conduct research, we will also try to disseminate in academic journals, social media, and digital platforms, different platforms. And also, because I also serve the Social Welfare Advisory Committee and Outlook Commission of Hong Kong government. So I will have a chance to comment and give suggestions on a lot of aging-related policy matters and directions. So that's why I will try to introduce the research findings to the committee, the committee, so that, you know, can further inform some of the policy and service development. So I'm aware of the time and yeah.
I'm sorry, could you kindly wrap up? We have
We're finished. Yeah, actually, that's all for my sharing. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Thank you, Prof. Bai, on the insights on how research inform practice and policy making, and how to infuse intergenerational work in education. So in a short span of time, we have gained much insights from our speakers. 10 minutes breezed by for each speaker, and we can all see that our speakers tried to pack as much content in their presentation as possible. And we have breezed through interdisciplinary and cross-sectorial collaborations in researching solutions to healthy aging. We seen how creative processes with seniors, and we have seen how the practitioners engage seniors through movements and intergenerational engagements, and how research inform practice and policy decisions. So now is the time for us to have a chat with the speakers in the Q&A session to find out more about their practices. So if you still have questions, please keep them coming in. I'm just going to start off with a fun question for all the practitioners. So I want to ask you, given gathering all the experience and knowledge you have gained from your respective practice, how do you envision your own healthy aging? Seems like it's a tough question.
I can go first. I think it's like a bank account. You have to save enough so that you can, you know, achieve healthy aging. Like we'll have to eat more nutritious food, do more exercise, and build healthy relationships with family, with our friends, and also do more proactive coping and to plan for future. And that probably will, you know, make us have a better chance to achieve healthy aging.
Thank you. Thank you, Bye. Anyone else wants to take that question?
I can jump on. I think, you know, I've always been informed by the 5 ways of well-being. So it's really about being active, staying connected, learning, connect, and give. So personally, you know, I do agree with Prof. Bai's position of banking. So I think it's really about sort of like acquiring assets. So for my case, I started to learn the piano as part of a promotion for brain health. So it's complicated, but it's good for the brain.
Engaging the senses and the motor skills. Okay. Any other response?
I feel like it's like I hope that there will be that time and space to be constantly motivated and to always have something to look forward to, be it the next gathering, be it the next game, we can sit together and, I think it's just be socially healthy and to keep socially healthy throughout. And I'm just gonna throw it in here. If I go into palliative care, I would like to be enrolled at Oasis. Oasis, you hear me? Oasis at Interim Hospice. Yeah? Okay, thank you.
For me, I think I agree with the three speakers as well. But having seen like how the seniors are across various spectrums of physical health being, I think firstly it's really that the physical ability to be able to commute around, wherever you are. Hopefully healthy still, mind is able to tell you to go, that you are. But I think to add to the mix of what they spoke, I think one thing is actually the capacity to process grief. Because I think, as much as we build social connections with our friends, etc., perhaps by that time many of our friends will be around our same age group, and or with the same kind of habits, physical or otherwise, and one by one they will start to leave, right? So I think it's about knowing how to not panic when like, oh no, is it going to be my turn next, right? But I think also being able to have curious enough to know other make new friends. I think making new connections is also important. Yeah, where with younger people or other friends who might be in that same social group or otherwise with you. Yeah, so I think about dealing with grief and then still be able to keep that clear mind to reach out to others and making new connections.
Thank you for your wisdom and your responses. We have a lot of questions coming in, and I will try my best to answer to get the speakers to answer all of them. So the first question is addressed to Dr. Tan, Michael Tan. In response to your point of being young, what differences have you observed between the youths in Singapore and UK, if any, in being agents of change for the elderly?
Well, I think in the current state of education or socially, I think people are very aware of, the idea or the challenges around population aging. And I mean, of course, in any society, there is diversity. I think there's still a lot more to be done in terms of how we respond to people in need in society, which is why I am always very interested to invite people to think about how in our own profession we could play a part in care ecology, because I think it's so easy to relegate care to certain sectors. But at the end of it, if we look at ourselves as community, as society, I think part of what we need to do as educators or as creative practitioners as we go into the world is to really sensitize people in that way that we really need to be for each other and to develop that capacity to be able to do so. So I think that there is still a lot of work to be done, but there's definitely an acknowledgement of the importance of that work, I would say.
Thank you. I hope that answers your question. The name is not stated. Okay, let's move on to the next question. I believe this is addressed to Ling. I wonder if the ladder of public participation is still applicable today to therapy work, since the research seems to be quite dated in 1969. Based on my training, which is more current and professional, therapy these days focus a lot on collaboration and participation. Rather than the therapist or the service provider being the expert, the participant/client is their own agent of change and has the right to decide on their own path of recovery. So the question is whether the ladder of public participation is still applicable today.
For me, I do feel so. In terms of how I use it in my work, maybe because I mean I'm more a practitioner than an academic, so I the way I use frameworks to inform and help me to understand the kind of work that I do and categorize. And I think secondly, because as my practice is not that much in therapy, but more of really the therapeutic outcomes that theatre or the arts can bring with alongside the work that we do. So actually I do use the ladder to help me to see what as a basis to start thinking about, okay, actually, where and how deep the engagement with the community or the seniors are. And then is that the intended outcome in terms of the kinds of participation I would like to see with them. Yeah, so then it helps me to understand the entire spectrum of community-based or work, that it can be where it's really very much like what has been outlined by the person who asked the question, but that it's the power is very much held within the hands of the creator or the person who first introduced this interception within that community, right? And then to the entire end, which actually is now where most of my work is in, whereby we ask questions and then get that co-curation or co-creation inputs from the community. Yeah, so I think it still allows me to see the entire spectrum of the possibilities of a work and how far it can go or where is it on that roller. Yeah.
Thank you, Ling. I hope that answers your question, Carissa. The next question is for Edwin. What are some of the biases that aging community have towards art or movement-based activities, and how do you address those apprehensions?
I think actually most of them would be really they're really shy to do it, and they want to just go back to their bingo and their mahjong, their small little social circle, whatever they're comfortable with. Actually with every new group of seniors that I reach out to, there's almost always that apprehension, and that's why I always tell my team, as much as we love dancing, we cannot expect that everyone understands dance the way we understand dance, and dance becomes quite a dirty word. So what we try and do is to change around the wording of how we're going to be, why we are there, to kind of try and use our crazy energy, our sense of humor, and just be very, very personable first, and play movement games with them, games that we've designed to keep them cognitively challenged, and physically involved. And then from there, we slowly feel like then they start to leave the apprehension behind, and they just kind of like fall into the whole process of moving with us, just in learning how to let go, worry less about what people think about them, making mistakes and then laughing at it. It's a very, I think, we continuously applaud and celebrate and the efforts more than their successes. I mean, their efforts is our success. So as long as everybody moves to their own intentions, we celebrate that, and that I feel like that makes everyone a lot more comfortable to take the first step. Yeah.
Thank you, Edwin. I hope that answers your question, Yusu. Next question is from Tika to Prof. Pai. Do you have a suggestion regarding strategies to convince government to invest in healthy aging or programs addressing the older population?
Actually, I think government has spent a lot of effort investigating the needs, service demands, and also try to improve the services and programs. And what we can do is the advisory community members, often we would, based on our research, based on our interaction with older people, based on our first-hand, information, and we would let the government know more about the related area and the service gaps and which area they probably need to invest more. And I think the Hong Kong government is pretty works quite closely with academics, and they would engage academics and scholars in different phases of the policy development, and in terms of, as I mentioned, needs assessment, and also even if they pilot some programs, they would engage scholars to help to do evaluation, and would reflect and see whether they need to further improve and to change certain issues. But of course, sometimes your stance could be different from the government, and the government could have more, their reasons whether to do it first or not to do it, and I think there need to be more, communication and also advocacy and communication is very important, and our government, I think, is quite and now, according to my experience and understanding, they're quite willing. They're now quite willing to reach out and to hear different voices and to make things solved. So, but sometimes some issues we still need a little bit more time, as we know, population is aging, and our population is aging very rapidly. So there is definitely increasing demands for different types of services, and we need to prioritize and see how to really fulfill the needs and foster activation and healthy aging. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Prof. Pai. So this question is from Jasmine and is addressed to all the speakers. I'm wondering what guides the speakers in the navigation of the ethics of working with communities. What grounds your practice in ensuring that the lives/stories are honored and the interactions are not racket, for the lack of better word, patronizing? So Jasmine is asking what guides you in the ethics of working with the communities and to ensure that it is not patronizing for the communities.
I will jump in. I think partly that's one benefit of working with universities, I guess, because in our work, we have to go through boards of ethics approval. But I think what is important is also us being able to be attentive to our own unconscious bias as we approach the work, notions of confidentiality, anonymity, and respect for the person that we are working with. I think those are useful guidelines to signpost us in terms of being ethical or being sort of like respectful to the communities or individuals that we are working with. So there are definitely guidelines out there. It could be informed by your organization that you're working with, or there are literatures out there that you can have reference to.
Anyone else?
I think for me, a lot of it has to do with because I'm more practitioner based, as in being on the ground. So a lot of it has to do with how actually the community responds to the work or what is being proposed to them. So like so for example, when I involve the community in the performance itself at the end of the day, and they are the ones who have to go through a certain present a certain script, right, and be part of the performance. Then actually before we even start the rehearsal process, after we do the research and interview, and then we do the crafting of the script with them, firstly I actually don't write down every single word and force them to say it like how I work with professional actors. Actually I only write in a certain point form, but we work together with the committee and the seniors, right, when we sit together and then we go through that thinking process. So there's a lot of check and balance in terms of that direct committee member as to how they perceive this thing, and anything that they feel uncomfortable with, we will have that discussion around that, when it comes to something like, actually I spoke about this during the interview, but actually I'm not comfortable with like random strangers in the public hearing me talk about this. Yeah. And then we'll have an unpacking session to talk about that. And it's, if at the end of the day, the person still feels very uncomfortable talking about it, that they only feel that it's okay for the interview and not for performance, I think it's up to us to, or rather it's our job to take it out and respect that in terms of what that committee feels most comfortable with. So I think it's a lot of discussion and listening, active listening on the ground, checking in with each other, and getting that direct response from the community themselves, yeah, as to how what are the boundaries that work for them, because they will be the best person in their community which they live day in and day out. They'll be able to inform us. But I've always been very, very hopeful that I can get more academics in this area of work in community-based practices through the arts, right? Who can come and be alongside the artist and the practitioner, so that way we can focus on the work itself, and then, you know, like people like Michael can come and then write about the thing, and then we can have a dialogue about that, you know. So I think that part of the work is something I hope within the practice here in Singapore we can develop in the next few years, you know, where Edwin and I can just focus on doing the work itself rather than us having to, you know, jot down all these notes and try to describe it ourselves. Yeah, but, you know, actually have the proper language, academia, frameworks, theories to guide and inform and discuss about the work that we actually do on the ground. Yeah.
Thank you, Ling. Any other response? If not, I will move on to the next question.
I just want to second that. I think just as Hui Ling was talking, there's a lot of things that we face quite similarly, and I think that's being on the ground, being in touch with the seniors in and out daily. I think there is that very innate sense of us kind of, I think just a lot of like empathy and respect. I think that leads that's our torch. And there's a lot of you know, just checking as we go along. But, you know, we are friends now. We've built that relationship. We've built that bond, and there is a certain level of trust. Also for them to trust that we do our work and we highlight their stories in a very, very respectful way. And sometimes it's also as an artist, you know, we don't want to just stick to, we don't always just want to stick within the red tapes. We want to kind of like, you know, kind of touch and kind of sense the boundaries a little bit. Also kind of gives us a chance to then articulate and educate a wider, you know, community that sometimes these are the important stories, the uncomfortable stories are the ones that are important to tell, because there's always going to be another person who might be feeling exactly the same or have gone through the same thing. Will find some kind of respite in it. So yeah, it's building that relationship in a very highly empathetic and respectful way gives us a very real opportunity to communicate and negotiate. Yeah, and then do good work.
Thank you, Edwin. Prof. Pai?
Yeah, I think the answers shared by other guests are very complete. Yeah, I don't have more to add.
Thank you. So respecting boundaries, building relationships. Yeah. The next question is it's posted by an anonymous attendee, and I guess any speaker can jump in. In various projects you've been working on, have you encountered senior citizens who are passive or pessimistic about aging or living? And how do you deal with them or situations like that?
Yes, we do like encounter this kind of seniors. They would be relatively pessimistic, and some of them at the very beginning they were not willing to participate in any activities, and we would try to provide a relaxing atmosphere, and we will provide a lot of assistance to older people, because sometimes they just have a lot of worries. They worry that they could not handle this, they could not reach there, they don't know the venue, and they have a lot of worries. So we will try to have our project staff to provide a lot of assistance to them, and sometimes we will call them and to comfort them and to make sure that they're confident that they can achieve the program activities, and chances are that after they finish participating in our programs, many of them become more happier, and they look forward to to participating in our future activities again. So usually we will, once we have this kind of opportunities, we will send email to all our members and to other people who's from the public. If they're interested, they could come to join our different programs. Our programs and activities are quite diverse, so they could definitely can find some activities that they are interested in. I think this is also very important. Don't force them to do something they don't like, but to let them to do something that they're really interested in is also very important. Yeah.
Thank you. So we have we have really overrun and ran out of time. But I would just want to add in one last question for any of the speakers who wants to comment. Just give me a second. We have really a lot of questions and really enthusiastic responses from the participants. My apologies ahead of in time for not being able to answer all the questions. If you would like to have your question answered, you can feel free to reach out to the admin and reach out to the speakers personally to get your questions answered. So I have just lost my question. So this is also posted by anonymous attendee. What other gaps do you see in the partnership of educational institutions and independent arts organizations in tackling active aging? What other gaps do you see in the partnerships of educational institution and independent arts organization in tackling active aging? This will be our last question for today.
Can I just jump in?
Sure.
I think things are converging. I think it's really about creating awareness on both ends, and how, as sectorial stakeholders, we learn how to talk to each other. I think it's really about creating that kind of space. And I think Prof. Pai's work in terms of the infusion model is a very interesting approach, right? And in my work, it's also really about how then do we bring people from different sectors together to ask that question, how we can actually put students, or how we could create opportunities for students to get into that headspace. So I think things are converging, not that, things are not happening. It is happening, but I think if there's any gap, I think the gap is to try and step up effort in terms of our awareness and consciousness to attend to this gap in our own respective positions that we are in. I mean, you could reach out to the education sectors, vice versa. I think it takes a lot of hands to clap. And if we start to reach out to each other, I think that will help to address the gap that we are currently facing.
Thank you. Any last response from any of the speakers? Okay, seems like we're good. Thank you all so much for your time. Thank you, speakers, for your precious time and your insights and wisdom. And thank you for the audiences for your enthusiastic response. I would like to hand over the time to the MC. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Renee. And thank you so much to our speakers and audience from Singapore and around the world for that insightful discussion. We have come to the end of today's session. If you're interested to find out more about the SIF Arts for Good program, please check out the QR code on screen. Wishing you all the best in health and spirits. Goodbye.
Discover the world and let me see how I can reach the inner me. How to connect. Here I am, come what may, the past, the future, and today. They're all inside of me. In my mind, I will find. Start believing in a better world, a brighter together we'll break through if we stay true. So if we're as one through our rise and fall and stay connected, we will stand tall. So we can make it. In my heart, I will feel. Stop believing in a better world, a brighter future. 'Cause from the heart of the soul, you can reach them all today. Just stop believing in a better world, a brighter future. 'Cause from the heart of the soul, you can reach them all today. Just stop believing in a better world, a brighter future. 'Cause from the heart of your soul, you can reach them all today. Just stop believing in a better world, a brighter future. 'Cause from the heart of your soul, you can reach them all today. Discover the world and let me see how I can change the inner me. How to connect. Discover the world and let me see how I can reach the inner me. How to connect. Here I am, come what may, the past, the future, and today. They're all inside me. In my mind, I will find. Stop believing in a better world, a brighter future. 'Cause from the heart of the soul, you can reach them all today. Just stop believing in a better world, a brighter future. 'Cause from the heart of the soul, you can reach them all today. You are the world as I am too.